Welcome to the Courage to Change with Karen podcast, where we delve into the heart of addiction recovery and share stories of triumph over adversity. I'm your host, Karen Gardner, your experienced guide in addiction recovery, providing support for the families impacted by addiction. Do me all a favor, would you? Would you please subscribe to this podcast? It sure helps get the message out to everyone else. And if on the platform you're listening to, if they give you a chance to review it, hit a good review as well for me, would you? Thanks. Hi, and welcome to the Courage to Change with Karen podcast. It's Karen, and this is episode 6. Welcome back. Today I'm going to read a reading from the Courage to Change Daily Meditation. It's going to be January 22nd. I'm glad you're here. Let's go. I tried so hard to learn detachment. Living with active alcoholism was confusing, and the idea of detachment seemed vague. The alcoholic in my life was a restless sleeper who fell out of bed almost every night. Feeling it my duty, I would always help him back into bed. One night, after attending Al-Anon meetings for a while, I stepped over his body and got into bed, leaving him on the floor. Triumphantly, I went to my next Al-Anon meeting and told them, I finally learned detachment. Well, they said, that's not exactly what we meant. We meant detachment with love. I left that meeting with a new understanding that I put into practice the very next time my loved one fell out of bed. When I found him on the floor, I still didn't help him into bed, but I did put a blanket over him before stepping over his body and going to bed myself. This, to me, was detachment with love. Today's reminder: with my higher power's help, I will keep a loving blanket of detachment with me. I will cover my loved one with it, whether or not they struggle with a disease, keeping in mind that when I am dealing with other human beings, I am dealing with the children of God. Okay, then there's a little quote. Detachment is not isolation, nor should it remain focused on not enabling the sick behavior of the past. Detachment is not a wall. It's a bridge across which the Al-Anon may begin a new approach to life and relationships generally. Well, that's a great reading. I don't know about you, but when I first started recovery and came to Al-Anon, before I even came to Al-Anon, I heard all these words like detachment, boundaries, enabling, I was like, what the heck? And I know what those mean, but how do you put them into practice? Like, how does it apply to my situation? And, I've done a lot of work on that, figuring out what that means. And that detachment means emotionally removing yourself, separating yourself away from what's happening, not participating in the crisis, that kind of stuff. And that's really hard. I have done this. I do this. I have this in my life where I have to practice this all the time. And, these kind of terms, I don't think they're just for dealing with an alcoholic addict. I think they could be just things that we learn in kindergarten. You know what I mean? These are just good, healthy relationship ideas that I was never taught. I think especially because I was adopted, I was really attached to my adopted mother. I mean, I was like attached, just because I think of the fear of abandonment. But these are the ideas that should have been taught to me when I was little. I was thinking this morning that one of the things I wish they would have taught me right out of the gate, just like the ABCs, is you can't change anyone else. I wish I would have been told that. It would have saved me a lot of time. You can't change boyfriends. You can't change the bad boy into a good boy or the bad gal into a good gal. You can't change your parents. You can't change your friends. You can't change anybody. You can't change someone with mental illness. You can't change someone with alcoholism addiction. All you can change is yourself. And, that's just really rings true to me today. It's really been on my mind that these simple things, but my mother didn't know. She didn't know about detachment. My mother was a big pouter. When she got upset, she pouted. She withdrew. It was the cold treatment, the silent treatment. She didn't speak. And it was awful when she did that in the house. And my mother my mother passed now, so I can talk freely about this. And it's nothing that my siblings don't know, but my mom was the ultimate victim. She was a strong, powerful woman, but as soon as something went awry, it was, oh my God, everything I do is wrong. Everything she went into this total, this total victim role. Everybody hates me. I don't do anything right. I remember saying that over and over. Oh God, I don't do anything right. She'd drop something on the floor and say, oh, I don't do anything right. And, that's a shame. We're all on this planet for such a short time, and we put all these rules and regulations on ourselves about how we should be and how our parents should have raised us and, all this stuff. And our parents were doing the best they could. But I wish someone would have just said, hey, my nickname was Cookie when I was little. I could see it now. Hey, Cookie, let me tell you the secret to living a happy life. You can only change yourself. You can't change anyone else. So if something's going on and you don't like it, you need to back up, right? Let them do what they're going to do. Just back up. Just back out. Pick what you want in your life, just back up. And that's, to me, is detachment, is backing up. I talk about it often. I've used this analogy before, especially in my boot camps. If we went into, a theater and we were all sitting there in the theater watching a play, that's detachment. When you get up on the stage and you start playing a part and you start interacting with the characters, you are now on the stage. We are watching you. You are part of the show. And I love to say, watch the show, don't be the show. Get off the stage, come sit down, grab some popcorn, and watch the show. And that to me is detachment. Can I watch and see what's happening? Can I let people have their own experiences? Can I leave people alone? Can I not try to lessen someone's pain? Now, that does not mean I'm not compassionate, and I'm not loving, but I don't have to participate anymore. And that's powerful. Excuse my language. That's powerful. So I want you to try that this week. Until we meet next week, I want you to watch the show. Don't be the show. When you find yourself in the show and you're reacting badly and you're screaming and yelling and you're really just tell yourself, I'm going to get off the stage now. I'm going to let these actors play this out. And I'm going to grab some popcorn. And if it's a really terrible show, leave the theater, right? Get an Uber. Go back to episode 1, boundaries. Get an Uber and go home. Go to another theater. Don't stick around, But otherwise, just sit down because you'll learn something. If you can get out of the actor role and into the watcher role, you're going to learn something. And that's really what it's all about. It's all for the experience. Then you'll really understand, how can I be helpful here? Right? What's really going on here? But you can't do that if you're in the middle of it, if you're in the thick of it, if you are the drama, right? You can't do that. You have to back up. And that's what this detachment is. And you can do it with love. You don't have to be like my mom and run out of the room and pout and not talk to anybody and slam things around. You don't have to do that. You can just zip your mouth, just don't be part of it, just interact, I'm envisioning the situations in my mind that my mother was, if she could have just come in and said, okay, what's everyone want for dinner? Just moved on and let us all have our shit fits. And just put dinner on the table and, just lived her life. But she took things so personally. God, my brother and I would fight and she'd be, oh my God, I'm a terrible mother. I can't do anything right. We were like, well, God, we didn't even know you were here. You know what I mean? Everything became about her. And she just let it victimize her. Really, it was terrible. And I love her to death. But that was her downfall, was taking things so personally, feeling so responsible for the show. That's a lot of weight to carry. So, I don't want to do that today, nor can I. Things seem to work out better when I'm not in there with my sticky fingers trying to fix things. I need to detach from people with love, mind my own business, and take care of myself. So that's it for this week. I hope you got something out of that. This has been Courage to Change with Karen, and I'm so happy you're here. Please subscribe if you haven't, or share this with a friend that you think might need some help and support. Don't forget, too, in the show notes is the link to the Courage to Change private Facebook group, where I do a lot of lives and Courage to Change readings daily, and you can get a little bit more intimate support there. So see you next week.